On June 1st of 1990, Will was 13 years old. I picked him up from his school, junior high school, and then he and I went to pick up other children in a carpool at Kenilworth Elementary School. He got out of the car and started to cross the street to go up to the school to pick up the smaller children, when another car came over the top of the hill and actually hit Will from the side. At that point, I saw him go straight up into the air a number of feet and then back, and his head was the first part of his body to hit the pavement. When that happened, the doctors later explained bleeding on the brain began.
Around 3 o'clock, so that was dismissal time, I was in the back of the school. That was my duty station. I'm directing the kids' traffic, trying to get them going home. And my son was here that day, and he was down in the lower parking lot, which is adjacent to the street. And he heard the brakes, and he didn't see Will get hit, but he did hear the brakes, as I said, and he right away, him and his friend, ran around the back of the building to get me. And by that time, kids were going everywhere.
Will, from the time he was hit until the time he was in the hospital, it was about 20 minutes. So I just admire totally the Bowie Rescue Squad and the ambulance.
And by the time I got down there, and I guess the crossing guard was there, and then eventually we had a police and ambulance.
One of the nurses I can remember looked up and said helicopter.
Then I found out we needed a helicopter, so I had to go around back and usher 300 or 400 children off the playground and on down to their homes. We had a lot more walkers and less bus students.
Once we arrived at the hospital, we were told that there was bleeding on the brain, that the brain was also proceeding to swell from bruising, and that this bruising and this swelling could cause other breakages of blood vessels in the brain. And they weren't sure whether he was going to live or die. The next morning found my husband and me in a small room in the intensive care unit at Children's Hospital. It looked like he was going to live through this, but they had no idea what his quality of life would be if he came out of coma. The doctors were not sure whether he would be anything more than a vegetable, or what a degree of ability mentally he would have.
He didn't know if he was ever going to be back the way he had been before the accident. There also we knew that he would have to go through a period of mourning for the person he was before the accident. And so the only thing we could do is give it our best shot and let him know that whatever his life was going to be, it was going to be good, and that he was going to recover as far as he could recover, but he was going to be a different person from whom he had been before, but he was still going to be a great person.
Well, Will came to see me after he had been transferred to the Kennedy Krieger Institute because with his evaluation and his rehabilitation, he was having some problems in controlling and regulating his emotions.
But periodically, he would be very angry, and that's not characteristic of the kid we knew. He's not an angry person, but yet he would have times of anger and frustration and of why things were so hard.
Will and I connected together and just to talk and pray together about just some life issues, but also to talk with him to help him adjust socially and also to adjust to just some of the physical challenge that he was going to endeavor. And it was during his high school years that we started talk on a regular basis, pray together, do accountability together, also talk about books that we were reading. I would give Will reading assignments. And my concern was just to encourage Will. Oftentimes Will would get frustrated.
As time went on, Will began to try to coordinate his movements, his emotions, and his thinking. And one thing that quite impressed me was his use of the drum.
One of the things that was certainly a love of Will from the very beginning was his passion for music, his passion for drumming. It was actually one of the main things that Will would talk with me about.
Will is an excellent drummer, and as he coordinated the rhythm of his movements with his music, he was able to bring together the rhythm of the music, his emotions, his thinking, and this helped overall with his coordinating abilities.
When Will would talk with me about his love for drumming and stuff, I kind of expected him not to be a very good drummer at all, and was really surprised when I met him at 17 and through the years how much his drumming has improved, and he's actually turned out to be a very experienced and excellent drummer, which is just a miracle.
Will is a very easygoing person to be with, and he's a lot of fun. The Will we always knew had a great personality and was really funny.
So that what we saw over time is that Will, who was involved in a very serious accident, began to show a reintegration of the emotions and his thinking that have led him now to be remarkably successful.
He became increasingly comfortable inside his own skin, and those were the important signs. I mean, by the time he graduated, nobody even noticed that he had a disability anymore because he was Will.
Some of the things that's taken place over the years just been so excited, and a lot of things, to be honest with you, that I never thought would happen. One of the first exciting events that I thought took place was when Will received his driver's license, and Will had some issues with his speech, of course, but also with his balance and mobility, and just simple tasks as far as walking and getting up sometimes seemed difficult for Will, and hand-eye coordination seemed a challenge. So when Will was talking to me about going to get his driver's license, I wasn't exactly sure if that was something that was going to be able to take place, but he excelled and received his driver's license. After he received his driver's license, he continued his pursuit in drumming, and just amazed to see how God has blessed him in the skills of music. And this is a guy, again, who, in my opinion, shouldn't be alive, who had difficulties with hand-eye coordination, and of course, drumming takes tremendous skill.
When Will graduated, he had metamorphosed into a young man who was no longer defined by his disability or by his head injury. It certainly is something that will always be a significant part of his life and something that he will always have to deal with, but it no longer defined him.
It's incredible improvements. He drives a vehicle, he plays the drums, goes to college, keeps an employment and has a good job, and all those types of things have been incredible. Just testimony and incredible progress in his life.
He was a young man with multiple talents, with significant academic achievement, and we had tremendous hopes that he would go on and get a 4-year degree and go on from that. We believed that he could do it and that he would do it in his own way and in his own pace, but we had no reason to believe that he couldn't go on and do that. And